On this week's Ring of Honor, it's the Sens that got away.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome! You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan. Alongside Brandon Pillar up in the Blue Mountains, we've got Lalime's Martian joining us from the nation's capital. And today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Today is Friday, July 25th. And boys, the voting on our first Ring of Honor could not have been closer.
Oh my God. Ross, you beat me by 1.6%. That is got to be the tightest we've ever had in the Ring of Honor voting here. And Pilsy wasn't very far behind either. I mean, he almost hit 30% as well. So it was almost an even share there. But I'll give you credit, buddy. You got the edge. You wanted this one bad, and you got it, pal.
I did. I wanted it bad, and I'm glad it was close too. One, it makes the competitive juices flow early in Ring of Honor season. And two, we should all have a little bit of confidence here that we can all compete in this distinct competition. So if you missed it last week, we led off our Ring of Honor season with a discussion of the biggest draft misses. Pilsy, we got some comments saying we should do the biggest draft steals in terms of, oh my goodness, I can't believe the player that was taken one before Ottawa. And how did they end up getting the player they did? Maybe we'll do that later this summer.
Yeah, that could be fun. There's a lot of Ring of Honor topics where you can just flip the narrative of the topic and approach it from that perspective. So that's definitely one that could be good.
It's starting out a little dark this season. So we did the biggest draft misses. And today, it's the ones that got away. So the players where at one point, they were part of the Sens organization, and somehow they slipped through Ottawa's fingers and went on to have a ton of success somewhere else. So before, if you're a longtime listener of the show, during COVID, when we were scraping the bottom of the barrel for content, we did an episode called Outstanding Outside Ottawa. And I think there could be some crossover in the draft today and that episode there. So that's the premise of it. The players that got away and went on to have great careers. Pilsy, do you want to set any more guidelines to this?
Well, I don't know about guidelines, and Martian, maybe you can chime in on this. My approach wasn't so much focusing on how much success that player had once he left Ottawa. It was more like, oh man, this guy got away. What could have been if he stayed in Ottawa?
Maybe we'll have to. The voters will have to decide.
There's a ton of big names on this list, boys. And again, it's going to be the voters kind of have a little bit of their own, perspective on this as far as like what's going to make a good pick in their eyes. Is it going to be like longevity after they left Ottawa? Is it going to be, who the name is? I mean, there's tons of different things. Ross, me and you went back and forth in the DMs a few days ago debating over this topic. Yeah, we always kind of get into it. Ring of Honor is always a competitive part of the year, but originally, I think the original one that was suggested to us, what was the exact suggestion that we had that kind of led us into going with the Sens that got away ultimately?
Players that the Sens gave up on too early.
Right. So with that topic in mind, I was trying to set some parameters for us. I was trying to say maybe we should put an age cap on it. Maybe we should go with guys who debuted as Ottawa Senators. I was looking at guys who were only traded because if it's the Sens giving up on them, then, it's not really their fault if guys walk in free agency. So that would have eliminated some big names. But we're going with basically no parameters on this bad boy. So it could go off the rails pretty quickly. And there's definitely going to be guys who are forgotten off this list.
And we will get to our honorable mentions. But first, the order. And as we always do, the winner gets to pick the order. And I have decided graciously that the last place finisher from the first Ring of Honor will go first. The order will be Brandon Pillar, followed by Lalime's Martian, and I will go third and then get the snake on the fourth overall pick. So, Pilsy, lead us off. No pressure. You're 1-1.
Okay, so just for clarification, it's the Sens that got away.
If you want even more clarification, Pilsy, why don't I just pull up the graphic here and you can read right at the very top. It says the Sens that got away. A little play on the ones that got away.
All right, yeah, this is going to be a very muddy draft with no parameters. The focus of where the value is here a little muddy between us, so we'll see how this goes. But either way, I had my 1-1, and I'm not sure if this is going to be your guys' 1-1, but I would be shocked if he's not at least in your top 3. For the first pick of the Sens that got away, I'm going with Zdeno Chara. I mean, a pivotal moment in the Ottawa Senators history. In 2006, the Sens let Chara walk. He signed a 7-year, $37.5 million deal. That's 7.5 AAV deal to go with Boston. And they kept Redden instead, gave him the same money, but a 2-year deal. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys know, Chara went on to win a Norris, a Stanley Cup, is in the Hall of Fame, and played well into his 40s and was a captain of a successful Stanley Cup contending team for a long time in the Boston Bruins. And he just completed, I'm forgetting the marathon, but literally like a week ago did like some insane marathon. Like the guy is still in elite shape. He's one of the tallest players to ever play in the NHL. If the Ottawa Senators would have chosen to keep, or maybe chosen is not the right word, if the Ottawa Senators were able to keep Zdeno Chara instead of Wade Redden there, I mean, that's 2006, boys. The next, like, they go to the Cup Finals that year. How nice would it have been to have Chara on that blue line in the Cup Finals instead of Wade Redden? Not that Wade Redden fell off a cliff right away, but man, Zdeno Chara getting away, that one stings.
That's definitely 1-1 for me. However, I think why I didn't take the first overall pick was because of just that. Wade Redden was very good the next couple of years. It fell off afterwards. Like the year after he signed, still 36 points. Yeah, probably not great. I'm sure Chara didn't have a whole lot more than that, but the longevity, great pick. 1-1. I mean, I got a friggin' picture of Zdeno Chara sitting beside my my desk right now. One of my favorite Senators of all time. So I got no qualms with that. It's a great first overall pick.
Yeah, that was definitely the 1-1 here. I mean, the longevity of his career after the fact, even though it was like one of those ones that, you know, would have got eliminated if we just went with the ones that the Sens gave up on, because he did walk in free agency. But in a way, the Sens played a big hand in that, right? Mm-hmm. He was pretty upset, I think, with the organization at the time after just trading Marian Hossa away. Yeah. He wanted more of a strong leadership role, and with Alfredsson there, that wasn't going to be an option for him. So he ultimately decided to go over to the Bruins there. And that was a heartbreaking day as a Senators fan. I mean, the guy played 18 more seasons after that deal. Like that, yeah. That is just ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, a pretty great pick there, Pilsy, but it was hard to mess that one up, buddy.
Thanks, yeah, it was hard. All right, Martian, you're up.
All right, man. Yeah, this is where it gets difficult. And Ross, I know why you chose yourself to go third here, because there are great options sitting on the table here. And you're just going to pick up what I leave for you. But I'm going to have to go back to, it actually relates quite well to Pilsy. And I just mentioned the guy's name. I'm going to go with, in 2005, the Ottawa Senators, after just inking Marian Hossa to a 3-year, $18 million deal, $6 million a year for Marian Hossa. That's a pretty good deal. They signed him that deal, and then hours later, they trade him for Danny Heatley. Yeah. And then yet again, a guy who goes on to win 3 Stanley Cups with the Chicago Blackhawks after getting traded from Atlanta to Pittsburgh to Chicago. He was in the Stanley Cup Finals a bunch throughout that period. This guy was
back-to-back years, Martian, with Pittsburgh loses to Detroit, then Detroit loses to Pittsburgh.
Then goes to Chicago, wins the Cup, 3rd year in a row.
Yeah.
And then, the year after they trade him, he puts up 92 points. And then the following year, he puts up 100 points.
Both less than Heatley, by the way, those next 2 years.
Yeah, but still, he's still a guy who got away. And if you look at the career that goes on after that, he blows Heatley out of the water in that regard. Because Heatley's another guy who eventually ended up sort of falling off a cliff after those years in San Jose. But yeah, Marian Hossa, man, he was a player. I think, defensively as well, you can look at that side of the game. And he was like at that time kind of that Sasha Barkov type guy who was going to, really help you get to the Stanley Cup. And yeah, that's what he did, man. He was the best. He had some really good years with the Sens, and he slowly got better. But man, ultimately, he had his best years outside of Ottawa. So I would say he is the one that got away in my book. I would have gone Chara 1-1, but I'm happy taking Hossa here at 2.
Yeah, and look, usually I don't add to other people's arguments, but since I did the research, I will. From the moment Marian Hossa was traded to the end of his career, he was 16th in points in the National Hockey League.
Wow.
He's all-time 18th in career playoff games played, 205, only 2 behind Wayne Gretzky, and he's 33rd all-time in points in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Hockey Hall of Famer, Marian Hossa.
And if eczema didn't end his career, I bet he would have had 1, 2, maybe even 3 more years left in him. Like, that's a crazy thing to have end a Hockey Hall of Fame career, a skin condition that made it difficult for him to wear equipment and stuff like that. So that's
26 goals his last year in the NHL, 45 points in 73 games. Super stud. I feel like I got to go Andre Mazzaros here because we got 2 Slovaks with the first 2 picks.
All right, put it on the graphic. Ross said, I got to go Andre Mazzaros here. Everyone heard it. Clip that. That's Ross's 3rd pick. A bit of a fumble, in my opinion. Martian, do you think that was a reach?
I think there's another obvious one here, and it's Mark Stone, 3rd overall pick. Everyone knew that he would have been the perfect next captain of this Ottawa Senators team. Already had the mentorship role with Brady Tkachuk living with him in his rookie season. Line mates. What does Stone do? Goes to Vegas, becomes the captain, and they turn into a team that's every year making deep runs in the playoffs, lifts the Stanley Cup. Second only player, actually. Pilsey's got one too, so I think we actually have to look at Martian with this one. Yeah, Hossa won the Cup 3 times, but Gary Bettman only handed it to Zdeno Chara and Mark Stone on this list so far. As captains of Cup-winning teams. I just think you look at why the Senators rebuild took 2 extra years longer than it needed to, maybe even 3. Mark Stone would have been the perfect player for this exact core we have now to be the leader. And maybe people will poke arguments that the injuries happen, but when this guy plays, he is one of the best players in the world and would have been a perfect leader for this team. So Mark Stone, 3rd overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there, Ross. It's the one that I would have probably taken next there as well. But it's weird to picture the Ottawa Senators right now having Mark Stone as the captain versus Brady Tkachuk, because obviously Brady Tkachuk's an amazing leader, an amazing captain in his own right. But you're right, it would have been really nice to have Mark Stone kind of bring him along to be that leader for a lot longer than he ended up being able to do that. So, Mark Stone, great pick, Ross. And I already know who you're taking with your next one as well. So
no, I don't think you do.
And just quickly though, does the return of Mark Stone, like the trade value return, does that affect the value of this pick in your guys' opinion?
A little bit, but I think it more so is just the player that Mark Stone is. And what was Ottawa's biggest weakness during the rebuild? They sucked defensively. He's the best defensive forward in the National Hockey League, always at the top in takeaways. It would have been a no-brainer that he is your leader, your number one guy. And yeah, Brady could still be a leader in his own right. I don't think it was a Chara situation where there were some reports that he wanted to be the captain, be the guy. I don't think Brady would have had that situation with Mark Stone. Look at Matthew. He's never won the C in his career. He's perfectly fine being a leader in his own right with whatever team he's on. So yeah, to answer your question, Pilsy, I think it plays a bit of a role in this one, but I don't think it's the be-all, end-all either. I think just the quality of player that you lost in Mark Stone at 26 years old. Like, what? Yeah. A 6th-round pick that you developed into one of the premier players who was the top-line winger on Team Canada at the Four Nations, you just gave away in his prime.
Well, Ross, what I always go back to with Mark Stone is George McPhee, the moment he traded for him, the quote, players this good aren't available through trade very often. Yeah.
And I think it was especially weird too, and it goes well with the title of the graphic, because I think Mark Stone kind of wanted to stay. It wasn't the thing.
Oh, yeah.
All he wanted
he still spends his summers in Ottawa.
Yeah, he wanted to stay.
all he wanted was a no move clause, I believe, and they wouldn't give that to him. So pretty tough looking work there from Pierre Dorion and making.
And I think what's
proudest day of his life was trading him away.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, he went back on that. He told us on our episode that actually is one of his biggest regrets was that
The
deal.
biggest regret.
Yeah. I think the part that stings too is you can put that side by side with the Pacioretty trade.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
That was Nick
Yeah.
Suzuki who went back.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, it was. A little bit more of a career than Eric Brandstrom. But would his game translate to Switzerland? Who knows? After the break, I'll get my second round pick. We'll keep this train rolling. I think we've all made great picks here to start off the Ring of Honor. More on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. But that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Guys, Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, all your investments, and all your spending in one place. So stop just managing that money. Start building that wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan your long-term goals. Plus, managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals together, and stay on the same page without all that stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year.
Today's episode is also brought to you by our pub in the heart of the Glebe. It's the Glebe Central Pub. You can find them at 779 Bank Street, where the vibes are free every single night of the week. They also want to make sure that it is an interactive atmosphere at the GCP on Monday. Start your week with Wing Night all day and all night. Trivia Night goes Tuesday. Bring your crew and put all your knowledge to the test. Wednesdays, it's open mic night, whether you play, sing, or you just want to kick back and listen. It's a great way to get over the hump. Thursdays are all about cheap tacos. Who doesn't love that? And of course, Saturday night, the King Daddy Topper. It's live music with no cover, ever. And the CFL season is underway, and you probably want to head to the pub before having to watch the Ottawa Red Blacks the way things are going this season. But whether it's for the vibes before or after the game, the Glebe Central Pub is your home base for live music, a night out with friends, or to catch the game on the tube. The Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street is the spot to be because, as you know, the vibes are free at the GCP. Welcome back to the Ring of Honor, the Sens that got away. This one started out the way we all expected, but it's about to go off the rails. It'd be wild if it didn't. So, Pilsy led us off with Zdeno Chara, followed by Marian Hossa, and I took Mark Stone. So the wording of this is extremely important. The ones that got away.
Here we go, Martian. Here we go.
This is where he goes. Let's see it. Let's see it, Ross. I'm not going to say anything more.
Just break the boundary, break the rules, or give your little loophole here. Let's go.
The ones that got away.
Oh, here it goes. This is going to be the graphic pander pick. I can smell it.
Yeah.
It's Daniel Alfredson. Like, are you kidding me?
I knew it.
Yeah, when you didn't take Mark Stone, I was like, when you took Mark Stone, I was like, how did you leave Alfie off there?
Because it looks way better on the graphic value in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Did he get away or did he not get away?
He's obviously a guy who got away, but he only played one more season after that.
And he led the Detroit Red Wings in points.
Yeah, with 49.
It's the right pick, and it plays on the graphic. Yep.
You think that's the right pick? I think you messed that one up, Ross. I would have saved that one for a little later in the draft.
It was.
You wouldn't have got it. I would have taken it.
I know the name is going to definitely skew on the graphic because people are just going to look at that and they're not going to hear the pre-conversation. Not everybody who votes listens to the episode. They're going to see Daniel Alfredson and Mark Stone in your top two there, and they're definitely going to like the looks of that. But yeah, man, I can't really argue it too much because he was on my list as well here.
Yeah, he got away. He played 17 seasons in Ottawa. All he wanted was a fair deal after taking less for his entire career, and they could not give him that respect.
The rumor is they offered him a blank check. Who do you believe?
Too late.
Yeah.
That was
if you cheat on your wife and then say, hey, I'll do anything. Well, guess what? You've already broken the trust. The trust was broken with Daniel Alfredsson. And at that point, it was too late. Thank goodness we're in a situation where he's back in the organization, but he absolutely got away. Heck, he got away twice, even tried to come back in management, and the owner still pissed him off enough that he left. So Daniel Alfredsson, easy choice here for my second round pick. There is, I will say, and I'll let you know if he's taken before me, I did consider another pick here because I think that his career after Ottawa is maybe the most underrated of anybody. So we'll see if it gets back to me.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if you could really call him a guy who got away when he's still with the organization, Ross, but I like it.
Yeah, he's home. What are you talking about?
He never got away. He came back.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. It's going to be impossible for me to leave this guy on the board here for Pilsy. Another former captain of this team, another Swede. It feels like I'm just following the trend after the previous pick here. But I'm going with the best defenseman to ever play for this organization, and that is Erik Karlsson. That was another very heartbreaking moment for this team. This guy's gone on to win a Norris Trophy. He's got a 100-point season since leaving Ottawa. Sure, he's maybe not quite been to the level that he was when he was playing with the Sens, but boys, this is a hell of a player. This is a right-handed defenseman that Sens fans are still asking to try to get back to this day, so he can't be that bad. It's still he's still ripping up the league. So Erik Karlsson, it's an obvious pick here for me, and another name that I think is going to play very well in this graphic.
Pillsy, ask him the same question you asked me about Mark Stone.
Yeah, that Erik Karlsson was much farther down my list because I would rather have the trade package we got for Erik Karlsson than have those years of Erik Karlsson at that price.
Sure.
And that has to be a part of it, which we hope when people see the graphic, they don't just look at names and click the vote right away. Take some time to think about the situations here. But it's fair. I mean, it's not like he fell off a cliff when he left Ottawa, but oh my God, Tim Stützle, Josh Norris. I'm not even going to list all the trade tree players that are now on this team because of that Karlsson deal. And I just think emotionally, it was time for a split. The rumors about him being on the trade block, the distraction it was time, but I get the pick, Martian. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sticking to my guns here. He was a player who got away that, probably would have been better off sticking around. He got away, boys.
He did. No, that's very fair. Pilsy, you're up.
All right. I will stick with a Swedish player. Ross, this player is an important part of our podcast history. The very first discussion we ever had about the Ottawa Senators. Player that got away, Mika Zibanejad. I mean, drafted 6th overall in 2011, was traded along with a second-round pick for Derek Brassard. And, oh, yeah, don't forget, the Sens got a 7th-round pick also with Derek Brassard. But, man, this guy's projection was looking good. In 2016, he had a 51-point season as a young player, and he goes on to put up massive points with the New York Rangers. He had 91 points one season, had a 40-goal season, is still, sure, there's been some ups and downs recently with him, but still an elite top 6 player. And I know Derek Brassard played his role in the 2017 playoff run, but when you just look at what would have been, and we love Derek Brassard, two-term Ottawa Senator, Mika Zibanejad, that's a guy that should have kept, all because they were scared about what his next contract would have been like, and they attached a second-round pick. Just a wild, terrible trade. Ugh.
Yeah, that's definitely was on my list, and I wonder if it plays as well on the graphic, just with the narrative around Mika Zibanejad now. But certainly there was a 6-year stretch there after.
I mean, he still had, I think he had 60 points last year. Like, it's not like he's
he was like dash 25. But
Yeah.
And the Rangers were not a good team.
Well, you think if their number one center was a little better, maybe they would have been better.
Yeah, the big
What a
He
knock-
did have he had a
How
40
many
goal
points did
season.
Derek Brassard put up last year?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, but hey, that was a win now trade, and guess what? Zibanejad and the Rangers lost to Derek Brassard in the playoffs the following season. So, who's the real winner?
Yeah, I think that run in 2017 doesn't go down the way it did without Derek Brassard. He was a great leader on that team. Him and Carlson were sort of having that internal battle, but it's only because they were both so competitive. He brought a competitive level that Mika Zibanejad's never shown in his entire career. I think the big knock on that player is that he kind of plays soft. So it's a solid pick, Pilsy. But yeah, at the same time, Mika Zibanejad's not exactly a playoff type guy in my opinion.
No, it's a good pick.
All right.
It's a good pick. All right, so on the other side, we will get to the third and fourth rounds of the draft. Honorable mentions, and as always, go have your say on Twitter at Sens Central. More on the other side. This is the Ring of Honor presented by the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day. Welcome back to the Ring of Honor, the ones that got away in Ottawa Senators history. We've got some big names on the graphic so far, but are we running out of them? Are we going to have to go to the bullpen and get some value picks at this point in the draft? We'll find out soon. Pilsy's up with pick number 3.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways I could go here, and I'm famous for making great third-round picks.
Here we go. This is gonna be the one, Ross.
It's a podcast, Pilsy. You got to speak.
I always get really excited for Pilsy's third pick.
Me too.
You know what? I'm going for it. Ben Bishop.
Okay.
Going Ben Bishop here. The Ottawa Senators acquired him in 2012 for a second-round pick after Andy cut his hand trying to cut frozen chicken. Classic hockey goaltender injury. In 21 games with the Sens, he had a 247 goals against, a 917 save percentage. Obviously, we all know what happened here. Once Andy came back, it was Andy, Robin Lehner, Ben Bishop. Andy is the franchise's best goalie, and Robin Lehner was their goalie of the future. And Ben Bishop, we weren't sure what we had there, but man, he went on to have an amazing career. He finished his career with 413 games played, a 931 save percentage, and a 232 goals against. Like, if you have Ben Bishop in net those years when he was
921. The guy's just adding 10 points to his save percentage.
921 career, Bills.
Yeah.
921? Oh, my bad. 921. If you have Ben Bishop for those years that he was the number one goalie for the Tampa Bay Lightning, man, that's huge. And the deal they got back, I believe it was Corey Conacher, right?
It was.
Corey Conacher and a fourth that became Tobias Lindbergh.
Yeah, so you didn't get much in return there. And even after Tampa, Ben Bishop was a good goalie in Dallas for a couple of years too. So incredible goalie that slipped away from the Sens because you had 3 guys and you had to choose. Now, I'm not saying they made the wrong decision at the time, and I understand the decision, but Ben Bishop's one heck of a goalie.
So this was the guy I didn't think was going to get back to me. So I will hit you with this stat as well. From the time that Ben Bishop left Ottawa through the end of his career, so 7 seasons from April trade deadline in 2013 up until the COVID break, Ben Bishop and Tuukka Rask were tied for the NHL lead in save percentage.
Yeah.
Nobody had a better save percentage than Ben Bishop for 7 seasons after leaving Ottawa.
He was a stud when he was healthy, for sure. And his career got cut short as well there. I'm not sure if it was his back or his hips, whatever it is. He's a tall guy. It's a lot of wear and tear on a big body like that. And so Ben Bishop could have had even a better career if it wasn't for injuries.
Yeah. And he started in 1 Stanley Cup final. Yeah, because then Vasilevsky was already there, but 2015 he made the Stanley Cup final, and no, that's what it was. Bishop got hurt in the COVID bubble, and Jake Ottinger had to take over, and Dallas made it to the Stanley Cup final. Did they? Yeah, they were in the Stanley Cup final. Yeah. Okay, But yeah, Ben Bishop, heck of a career. Even, that last season he played at a .920 save percentage, but injuries did catch up. Two-time runner-up for the Vezina, and he finished third one other season. So great pick. However, Corey Conacher did score that huge goal against Montreal in 2013, Game 4.
Never forget.
Yeah, never forget that. But great pick, Billsy. Great third-round pick by you. Martian, you're up.
And this is the difficult part for me in this side of the draft here, boys, because again, Pilsy, there's a few different ways I could go here. I'm kind of split between two names.
You got to go with the vibes, Martian. That's always worked for you.
The vibes always works for me. I got to go with my gut. I think similarly, I think to many Sens fans out there. So in this case, I'm going to have to go with oh, man, I'm hesitating. I don't know what to do. It's just so hard. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with Matt Duchaine on this pick here, guys.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. Let the man speak. I'm interested.
This is a guy, I know the story here in Ottawa. It wasn't great. He kind of comes in. The season goes off the rails. I don't think he deserves much of the blame for what was going on with that team at the time. This is a guy who was part of Ubergate. He might have been, other than Chris Weidman, kind of the leader of the Ubergate. That season goes to crap. A lot of the guys who we have on this list, including Mark Stone and Erik Karlsson, got traded that season, and Matt Duchaine was around for all of that. But if you look at this guy's career post-Senators, it's impossible to ignore that he's still, to this day, last season, putting up a point per game. He's staying healthy. He's played on a few different teams since then. But Matt Duchaine,
why do you leave the next team? Why do you leave his last team?
They bought him out, which was a huge mistake. Huge mistake, though. If you look at it, like Nashville, they had a horrible season last season, and they could have used Matt Duchaine. I think he's a great guy in the locker room, but, dude, he's still putting up 82 points a season. You can't knock that. He would have led the Ottawa Senators this year in points. I'm going with the gut here. This isn't the name that would have stood out the best on the graphic, I don't think, but Matt Duchaine's still a hell of a hockey player. This could easily hurt me, but I hope people see it the same way as me. Matt Duchaine is still a good player.
Okay, still a good player, and he's your third-round pick. I got nothing to add. Pilsy?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, damn. Martian, he was not on my list because I'm worried about how it'll play on the graphic, but I'm on record multiple times saying Matt Duchaine as an Ottawa Senator is one of my favorite players to watch. Go watch his highlights. Absolutely sick. Some of the best point per game in the most meaningless games ever. The team pretty much tanked their entire future and hopes once they acquired him and they went all in to get him. But he was good when he was here and still a good player to this day. So, yeah, Matt Duchaine is an interesting pick for sure.
Very interesting.
You want to know what's funny? He wasn't on my list I have written down here.
Whoa! Off the list in the third round.
I went off the seat of my pants with this one, boys. It popped into my head, and I just thought about it for a little bit, and I just decided this is the right pick at the right time here. Matt Duchaine.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go with a pick that I feel like you guys are going to make me take back, and if that's the case, sure. But to me, he got away.
Here we go.
Marty St Louis.
No, he never played for Ottawa. He was at like a training camp or something like that.
And the Ottawa Senators were the only team to invite him to a training camp that year. And they said, thanks, but no thanks. You can go away. And he went away and had a pretty goddamn good career. So what's the call? Am I allowed to make that pick?
No, the guy has to have played a game for the Sens at some point.
Show us a picture of him in a Sens jersey.
Did they have cameras in 1997?
He needs to have been under contract at some point, Ross. Like whether he was drafted or signed an entry level and was traded.
Or invited to training camp.
No, that's garbage.
I was not aware of this, so this is interesting. I don't know if I would have picked the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens as a guy that got away, but
it's up to you, Pilsy. Like we've had Ring of Honors in the past where we've nixed one of Ross's picks, and the listeners have told us that you should have let him keep it because it was a bad pick. This could be one of those ones.
Martin St. Louis had a Hall of Fame career, dude.
Yeah, but this could be one of those ones where the viewers see it on the graph and they go, Marty St. Louis, like, what the heck's with that pick? That's like, that must be some sort of.
You know what? I'll allow it because we didn't set any parameters. Invited to camp, they could have retained him and kept him.
Yeah.
I don't know how it'll play on the graphics, so I'll allow it. I was not aware of this, so we'll see if any other Sens fans were aware of this as well.
Okay, per Wikipedia, NHL offers for St. Louis were anticipated but never materialized as teams lost interest in him. Only the Ottawa Senators offered him a professional tryout prior to the 1997-98 season. When they released him, he signed a 2-year contract, AHL only, and then worked his way up the following season and never stepped foot in the AHL again. So there you go.
I get it. I've heard the story. I think there will be Sens fans who are aware of the story. I just don't think the guy was ever under contract with the Sens. Therefore, he should not be qualified for this. However, I'm with Pilsy here. I'm going to let it slide.
Okay.
This is a big brain pick by Ross, and I hope it backfires.
Okay. So I've got 2 Hall of Famers on my list and a third guy who likely will be in Mark Stone once he wins an Olympic gold medal this upcoming year. My 4th round pick, and now we're in the point of the draft where I'm looking at longevity. I'm looking at guys who won, and my 4th round pick will be Antoine Verette, who is always an extremely efficient third-line center with the Ottawa Senators. He will go down as one of the best face-off men in NHL history. He won a Stanley Cup with the Chicago Blackhawks after coming over at the trade deadline. He was an important piece in that playoffs, and won 59% of his faceoffs during the Stanley Cup run at 7 points in 20 games. He wasn't the star, but man, he was a heck of a player. And Ottawa ended up trading for Pascal Leclerc. So you look back at that and you're like, okay, wow, we probably could have used a guy like Antoine Verette throughout his career. So Antoine Verette will be my final pick.
Not on my list.
He was totally on my list, Ross. Very fun young Senator when he was coming into the league. Great penalty killer, as you mentioned there. And I think if this was the players the Sens gave up on too early draft, that would definitely be a little bit higher on this graphic. That was pretty young when they got rid of him. I believe he was only 26 years old as well. And he was just. And
then the next year he had 65 points in 82 games.
Yeah, he was just entering his prime. He was an important part of that Chicago team that ended up winning the Cup. So I like the pick. I don't love the pick. I like the pick, though.
Okay. All right. Well, that's my draft right there. Antoine Verette, my final pick.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's good. I can't believe this guy made it all the way back around to me again. I was considering him with my last pick. And this is the name that's probably going to play pretty well on this graphic here, gentlemen. And that's going to be former captain of the Ottawa Senators, Jason Spezza. I know that he eventually kind of tapered off as far as point production goes, but Jason Spezza adopted a different role later in his career. He was able to still be a good contributor for the teams that he played for. I'm not going to mention the last team he played for because in my mind, I don't think he ever actually played for the Leafs. But Jason Spezza, when he went to Dallas, was still a 60-point player for that team. Another great big body centerman who was an awesome Ottawa Senator. Definitely should at some point end up in that actual Ring of Honor in that Sens rink, in my opinion. He was awesome. And then he played another 8 years after getting traded away for Ottawa. So he could have helped us. And another guy who, you didn't get a great return for Jason Spezza, considering the player he was at the time. They ended up getting, I think it was Nick Paul, right?
Nick Paul and, oh man, I'm blanking on the guy's name. He won a cup with the Caps.
Oh, Alex Chason.
Yes.
Chason. Yes. So bit of an underwhelming return there. I remember that trade going down and being like, that's all we got for him. But yeah. I'm going to go with Jason Spezza here, boys, with my 4th round
and
pick.
Don't forget about prospect Alex Guptill. Yeah, in the trade. That's tough.
Okay, interesting. Spezza was not on my list, but he had some good years in Dallas for a bit there. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Man, I'm not getting a lot of feedback on my picks here, boys. What's going on? You guys just don't like my picks. They're not on your list. You got nothing to say. That's it.
I don't like the name. I like the names on your list, but I don't like the way or the time that two of them left. I think it was time for Matt Duchaine to go.
Yeah.
And I think it was time for Jason Spezza.
Agreed. That's kind of where I'm at too. They're not bad and not bad names, and they had success once they left, and they're not bad picks for your third and fourth round picks. I think it's decent value. We'll see how it plays on the graphic.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Penalty, round it up.
All right, the final pick. I had a feeling this guy would fall to me, so I didn't take him early. I tried to weigh the value of where I could get this guy, and I'm glad I waited here. And I know I'm going to get pushback here, but I got to go with what my heart says. Sens that got away, Dominic Hasek.
Oh my God.
The greatest goalie to ever play the game.
He was
Was
like
on
40.
the Ottawa Senators in 43 games with the Sens, 209 goals against, a 925 save percentage, 28-10-4 record. Yes, he injured his adductor in the Olympics and refused to play for the Sens the rest of the year. I get that. But he wanted to come back. He was like, okay, I messed up. This team's going to be good. I want to come back. Muckler said, no chance. We're not having you. The Sens lost in the Cup Finals the next year. That's a Hall of Famer with 6 Vezinas, 2 Hart Trophies, 2 Ted Lindsay Awards. If they have Hasek, nothing against Ray Emery. He played well in that playoffs leading to the Cup Finals. But if you have Hasek there, I think he shuts the door and you win that cup. And we're talking about the Ottawa Senators as Stanley Cup champions in 2007. And he was willing to come back on a cheap deal. I believe the rumors it was like $1 million or something. Like he was like, look, he really messed up and he wanted to come back, and they didn't do it. So the Senators let the greatest goalie of all time get away.
I don't know if he let himself get away. Like he wouldn't practice. They had to literally have an intervention with him saying, dude, all you have to do is stand there, and he wouldn't do it. So at that point, trust is completely eroded within the team. And I bet you if you showed that pick to Daniel Alfredson, who was the leader of the team at the time, he would laugh you out of the room.
He would be disgusted by that pick, Pilsy. And not only all the stuff you just mentioned, this, like Ross said, he refused to play at a time when they needed him the most, and he put the team in a really tough position because goaltending all of a sudden became a huge weakness. He was 40 years old when that happened. He was 39, 40 years old, I think.
Martian, his next season with the Detroit Red Wings, in 56 games, had a 205 goals against, a 913 save percentage. He had 8 shutouts the next year. But goalie in Senators history has 8 shutouts in a year.
That Detroit team won the Stanley Cup that year, so he was playing a pretty good team, and he played sparingly in the playoffs. That was...
And you just gave me a hard time.
Played 18 games in the playoffs.
Sorry, it was 2 years later because he played 2 more years with Detroit.
Nice try.
Chris Osgood was the goalie that won the cup. He sat on the bench.
2 years later. I'm talking about the emphasis of the one and only time the Ottawa Senators made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. They could have had the greatest goalie ever.
It's a decent argument, but I don't think he would have been ready to play. He gave no confidence to his team that he was going to be ready to play. The whole year, everybody would have been waiting for the pin to drop or the adductor to not feel so good.
Look, I get it. He messed up big time. Everybody makes mistakes. He said, my bad. I'm willing to come back on a cheap deal. I believe in this team. Let's run it back. Give me another chance here. And they let him walk.
Well, we've talked to people around the team at that time, and I don't think he was a very liked teammate on the best of days. So if you're not going to be a great teammate and then you're going to literally pull it, I don't think that he deserved the benefit of the doubt.
And you just gave me such a hard time about guys who it was time for them to leave. After that, it was time for Dominic Hasek to get the hell out of Ottawa too.
I agree, but that's why I took him with my last pick. I agree, but man, the one time you had a chance in the Stanley Cup Finals and you could have had the greatest goalie ever, would have made a difference.
Yeah, maybe.
That was a classic late round pick by Pilsy.
Yeah, big time. I'm surprised. I even wrote down when Pilsy started talking Philip Gustafsson. I thought he was going there.
I was between Hasek and Gustafsson.
For sure. Honorable mentions. And we'll first we'll get to our list there. Pilsy, lead us off because you had the first overall pick.
I went with Zdeno Chara, the consensus 1-1 pick.
Yep.
Mika Zibanejad, Ben Bishop, Dominic Hasek.
Yeah. Great value in the third round.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I went with Marian Hossa, and then I took Eric Carlson, and then I took Matt Duchaine, and with my last pick, I have Jason Spezza.
And my list, Mark Stone, Daniel Alfredson, Marty St Louis, and Antoine Verette. Who are the honorable mentions that we missed in this draft?
I've got a bunch. Can I read some of mine that aren't like big name recognitions, but the reasons I thought were pretty valuable that just didn't slap on the graphic?
Yeah.
I'll start with one, Ross, who I thought you were going to take in the fourth round. I'm actually shocked you didn't. Friend of the show, Joey Decord.
Yes.
Right? Like, I mean, you don't leave him exposed in the expansion draft and you keep him. He's a starting goalie right now. Great dude, beloved teammate, friend of the show. That would have been a real nice one for the Ottawa Senators to give him a little more time, because you look at his time with the Ottawa Senators, he didn't get a lot of games played. Like even in Belleville, he didn't get a lot of time. He got a couple NHL games where he was basically tossed to the Wolves. Like
The
his first NHL
Buffalo
game, Matt Murray ducks out in the warm-up, and you're like, hey, kid, you're playing your first NHL game. What minutes?
No, first real game. Remember, he played that one game at the end of the Buff.
Fair. Yeah, okay. But yeah.
Which he told us was on purpose because it would give them the opportunity to get playing time if he wasn't already in Ottawa. That he would that one game made him exposed in the expansion draft.
Yeah, true. That had massive implications. So Joey Decord is a guy I thought of. Another one, big one for me, Dylan DeMelo. They finally found a partner for Thomas Chabot. Finally, after so many years of just playing him with terrible players, and then 2 seasons in, they trade him for a third-round pick, and now with the Winnipeg Jets, he's a solid defensive defenseman that can also put up some points, and he's a great teammate. We loved him here in Ottawa, so that one.
But you say third-round pick, like that was Levi Marilainen.
Yeah, I know, but like,
yeah,
if we're talking value of at the time, like, sure, if you give away a 6th round pick and you look at the value, then you say, well, that turned into Mark Stone. Like, you never know how that works.
They got that pick for Alex Auld, by the way.
It would have played better on the graphic than Dominic Hasek would have. That's for sure. Fans love Dylan DeMelo. You're right about that. People love them. I got a bunch of guys on my list here that are really fun names that we could get into here too. Nick Foligno, like he's still playing. He's played 13 years.
Then that's the Mark.
The only reason I didn't do that is because I didn't want to do math 30.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Fisher. That's
at that point in his career. I mean, he still was captain of a team that went to the Stanley Cup final, so that's a good pick.
How about Martin Havlat?
I thought Ross was going to take Havlat.
I thought about Havlat. No,
I saw your tweet last night. Your tweet last night when you mentioned Havlat, Hossa, and who else?
Yeah, no, I was doing Hossa research. No, just their right wing depth was Alfie, Hossa, Havlat, Chris Neal. Pretty smart.
Yeah. And
my best player that I didn't take, and rest in peace, was Pavel Demitra, who had an unbelievable career, and he actually did play games for Ottawa. So I was between Marty St Louis, Pavel Demitra, Hockey Hall of Famer.
I thought you were going to go Ray Emery there, Ross. I thought you might take him with your final.
No, I feel like he bounced around quite a bit in his time.
Did that year with Chicago, though? Oh, my God.
He was sick. Even though he wasn't in goal in the playoffs, it was Corey Crawford's team, but they won the Jennings together for the best save percentage as a team. So, no, that was good. But, yeah, Pavel Demitra, sneaky, unbelievable career. I looked up his stats. I was like, wow, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he's that good. I should have done it in the first round. We could have had all Slovaks for the first round. I know I said Mazaros, but I said it because I didn't want you guys knowing about Demitra in case I did take him with a late round pick. We talked about Philip Weston.
I knew about Demitra, buddy, because remember one of our very first Ring of Honors from season 1, I took Pavel Demitra. Hello, my name is Pavel, and it's nice to meet you.
Would Nick Paul have played?
Yeah.
He's
I don't know. Like, would you guys have signed Nick Paul to that deal?
Probably.
Was it 6 years by $2 million or something though? Wasn't it?
3.25.
It was like 3.2 or something. Yeah. I'm not saying it was terrible, but that was like a whoa. I don't know if the Sens were going to do that at that time.
Yeah, 2 goals in Game 7 against Toronto and a win was sick.
in hindsight, actually, I probably would ink him to that deal because that's like the kind of like a Madio type guy that they would need.
I'd take Nick Ball over Michael Madio.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah.
It would have played for sure. It would have taken some massaging, but yeah, I think
only other player I have on my honorable mentions, and I wasn't gonna take this player. It doesn't pop on the graphic, but Brooks almost played 1,000 games in the league. They played one. I think it was one game with Ottawa. They traded him for Peter Bondra, and Bondra flopped in Ottawa. And then Brooks had a sneaky, unreal career.
That would have been a very sneaky one too. A name that wouldn't have played on the graphic that well either. But yeah,
sorry, he didn't play. He played 776 games and exactly one for Ottawa.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How about Jakob Silfverberg?
Yeah, thought about that.
Yeah, that was
in that same vein. I put Stefan Nason.
Took him a long time to get going, but yeah.
But dude,
he's a good player now.
He's had 3 consecutive years of 35 plus points, and he's a solid bottom 6 guy now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Were they part of the same trade? Was that
for Bobby Ryan?
Bobby Ryan trade. That's right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Then only other guy that I had, this would not have played, but Vlad Nemesnikov. I mean, that would have been a nice guy to keep around.
Sneaky good player.
Yeah, and they traded him for a 4th, and then traded received a 4th to ship him off. So kind of a wash there, but I really like that guy.
Yeah. He's a really good player.
Cup champ.
Yep.
Is he? Oh, with Tampa?
Colorado. Wasn't it?
No. I don't think he's won the cup.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think so. I was just agreeing with you.
No,
Sounds better.
Did not win the cup. He's played on teams that have then won the cup.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Okay, never mind.
Twice.
Yeah.
Right. He did play for Colorado, and he did play for Tampa.
Yeah.
Didn't win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, my bad.
He's a 2-term Tampa Bay Lightning, so maybe that's why he thought that. He went to the Stanley Cup final with Tampa in his first year. Didn't get into all the games, but as a 22-year-old, yeah. Yeah. That's a good draft. I enjoyed it. I hope people get mad at the list. I think we all made at least one pick that people are going to be like,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
And
we all made some good picks too. So I think that's going to play for a very fun Ring of Honor. As always, we will put up the graphic on all of our social media platforms. The vote will be exclusively on Twitter, and we'll put the link to get directly to the poll under this video on YouTube. So make sure to check it out and vote. Hopefully the voting is as close as the first one was, because that gets me fired up. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow at Lalime's Martian, at Sens Central on Twitter. And we will be back next week. More interviews and another Ring of Honor on Friday. You can always write in your topics, and we have an ongoing list. And every week we sit down and we say, which one are we going to debate this week? So plenty of time to do that. Martian, any final thoughts on today's show?
No, it was a good one, Ross. I think it will be close. I think this one's gonna play well out there. Hopefully we get as many votes as we got last time. Lots of engagement on that. So these are always fun, boys. Ring of Honor season, we're so back.
Pilsy, final thoughts, fella.
Yeah, we're back. This is fun. Marshy, glad to have you back on for another one here, and we'll see how this one goes. I don't think there's a clear loser here. Just like last time, I don't think it was obvious that one team tanked it. So we'll find out.
We will, and we will discuss on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you for listening, watching, and engaging with the show. For Brandon Pillar and Lalime's Martian, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.